said earlier, welcome to this webinar run by the Entrepreneurship Centre at Cambridge Judge Business School. I don't know how much you know about Ignite, but Ignite is a one-week programme that we run in the summer. It is specifically designed to leverage all the resources and the network and expertise in the Cambridge ecosystem and to help people fast-track their ideas and to actually leave the Ignite session with a very implementable business plan and clear sort of guidance on their next steps. So what we wanted to do with this guide was just to flag up one of the very key important aspects of Ignite, which is the mentoring. And Ignite is quite unique. We have a lot of faculty who contribute to many of the workshops in the morning sessions, drawing on their research, working with startups in the Cambridge ecosystem and providing frameworks around which you can start to develop your thinking and your business plan. And this is supported by practitioners who have set up their own companies and again are reinforcing what our academic faculty cover in their sessions. And then the really important aspect is from the Monday to Thursday, every afternoon we have mentoring. And basically people who apply to Ignite go through an interview process to ensure that we can match them to the right mentor. And mentors work with the ventures in small teams, carrying out both group coaching and individual coaching to help them apply the learning. So I don't want to sort of go into too much detail. Sarah has a lot more to go through the mentoring process than I do. But effectively, Sarah is one of our very popular mentors on the Ignite programme. And she can shed a lot more insight into how the mentoring process works, why it is such an important part of Ignite, and why we always make sure when people come to Ignite, they fully understand what it involves. So Sarah, without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to you and you can do a little bit of an introduction about you. I know I've introduced you as an Ignite mentor, but please feel free to elaborate on that. So over to you, Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Anne. So it is a real privilege to speak to you and to be supporting the Ignite programme. As Anne said, I'm one of the mentors and coaches and I support the Entrepreneurship Centre. In however many way I can. I have been a part of the Cambridge ecosystem for many, many years. I run my own business and I give business advice and coaching advice as well, and coaching and leadership programs. So today I'm going to be focusing specifically on the aspect of what the mentor is here to do for you on the Ignite programme. It's been a real privilege, as I say, to be already on a programme before. So I have some stories to tell you about how it works and what you can get from the programme for the week. So we're going to talk through how the process works, give you some more information about what to expect and really how your mentor will support you throughout the programme, because they are here for you. So you really have an opportunity to leverage on having somebody dedicated to your success. And during the intensive Ignite week, they will specifically help you identify your ideal customer, your competitive edge. They'll help you develop a solid business model, financial strategy for your investment. So really by the end of the programme, you'll have crafted a first compelling pitch deck, which will be possibly tailored to different stakeholders. And you will really be able to be equipped with tools and support to take your venture to the next stage. So what does that look like in practice? Ciara, if you would be so kind to move to the next slide. You've got a picture of me actually with my wonderful group last year. And what you can see here is us working as a group. And I think that was probably the first or second afternoon that Sayura popped in. And you can see the smiles from everyone really enjoying the dynamics of working in a small group, but also thinking about, you know, the entire cohort that you'll be connecting with. So lots of work opportunities and networking opportunities with fellow members. So what your mentor is going to be do is they're really here to shape you, to help you shape your early stage commercialization strategy. They'll challenge you to refine and validate your strategy from customer insights to financial planning. And as I said, at the end of the week, you will have a compelling pitch deck that you will have an opportunity to practice on. And the mentoring is very much an iterative process. So see it like a sculptor shaping some clay. So you can imagine at the beginning of the week, you're really refining, you're testing, you're shaping in order for you to actually have something that looks a lot more finished by the end. And you have somebody here to support you throughout the week with that expert guidance. So how the mentoring works. So as Anne said, every morning you'll be absorbing the lessons by the faculty. And what mentoring does is help you translate those lessons into those actions specifically for your business. It's very much a safe practice space. You work with a small group and you get to know your fellow group members as well, and you can practice together and with me and with your mentor on feedback and iteration. You also have one-to-one mentor time dedicated to you, and that gives you opportunity for tailored guidance to pull out the strongest ideas in your venture, for example. And really what you're looking at throughout the process is that final milestone, which is a real celebration of your hard work, which is getting that first draft of your pitch ready and practicing it in an environment that is incredibly supportive, but it is also real world. So you really have an opportunity there to test your ideas, but it's not high stakes competition and it's more pitch and build experience. What we find on the program is that successful mentees are typically really curious. They really want to know, how can I improve? Please challenge my own assumptions. So they're really open to feedback and they're comfortable stepping outside of their comfort zone. It is a stretching zone that week. It's very intense. And we also see a lot of participants being incredibly proactive and thinking, how do I apply the insights I learned this morning in real time to shape their ventures? So as I said, it's really molding something ready for the world that you're going to be working on. If we could go to the next slide, please. So I'll be walking you through what happens throughout the week, just to give you a flavour of how the mentor is going to help you on a day-by-day basis. So on the first day, in the morning, you'll be thinking about what's your value proposition. And some people might not really be sure how to articulate that. And it's really important to craft and have a clear, compelling value proposition that attracts your customers or your investors. What you'll also be working on is learning how to determine target customers and target markets, identifying who your ideal customers are, and also where your product fits in the market. You'll also get lessons on how to conduct market research. So how do you validate demand, refine your strategy, and stay ahead of competitors? And what will happen in the afternoon with your mentor in your group is you will really start working on your own thoughts and how you apply those learnings. So understanding who your customer is, what their needs are, what value are you creating for a new customer, what unique problems does your product solve or your service solve? And also, why should your customers care? What's the problem that your value proposition solves? And really, you're working through these questions, and your mentor will be helping you and challenging your assumptions about your customer and the real problem you're solving and supporting you refine that. So at the end of that day, you're really working towards crafting that clear, differentiated value proposition that really resonates with investors and customers. As I said, they're here to be testing you and helping you refine your assumptions. So it's really helpful in those afternoons to be ready to discuss things like, who's your customer, what problems are you solving, and who are your stakeholders. So really, by the end of the day, you'll have articulated that value proposition, started your market research and competitor analysis in collaboration with your mentor. And really, what I like to do as well is, if you're in my group, is also developing your first version of an elevator pitch, which is something that is really tricky to get right. And you will have opportunities to do that throughout the session. Go to the next slide, please. So on day 2, you will be buzzing with excitement with all the things you've already learned. But really, day 2 is about building further that value proposition and determining your target market. Sorry, I'm moving on to the wrong one. On day 2, we'll be looking at types of business models. Apologies. You'll be looking at understanding the different models. So the faculty members will be helping you understand these things, these principles, and that will help you choose the right one for your venture. You'll also look at what's a value chain, mapping your business and finding out how you create, deliver, and capture the value. You'll look at routes to markets, exploring direct sales, partnerships, and distribution, for example. And also the faculty will teach you information about partnerships and licensing and leveraging collaboration and protecting your IP. And how that translates in the afternoon with your mentor in your group is you'll be stress testing that revenue model to ensure it's scalable and sustainable. You'll be together challenging that you think critically about those partnerships, the licensing, and the market entry strategies. So really together you will be thinking about how do you generate revenue? What are your key costs? How does your venture work, and how is it going to make and capture the value? So by the end of day 2, you'll have completed what we call a business canvas model, and it really is tailored to your business. And you'll start to develop a roadmap with actionable steps to move from concept to execution. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So on day 3, still buzzing, but feeling probably a little bit confused sometimes. And that's part of having the mentoring, is having somebody who is able to discern and define questions that you may have. So by day 3, I find that people have more questions than answers, which is completely normal because you're really exploring and stretching your assumptions. So by day 3, you'll have lessons in the morning on the financial side of your business. You'll learn some key financial terms. You'll understand what business plans and profits and loss accounts, what are assets and what are liabilities. And you'll also be exploring what's your financial strategy. So you may be exploring funding options or capital management. You'll also be exposed to information about what's an exit and what's a valuation. So really thinking about planning your business long term and your potential exit strategies. You'll be exploring as well with the faculty members what sorts of investments are out there. So in a way, how do you identify and secure those funding opportunities? And also some really good insight as to what investors are looking for, because it's really important to understand the key factors that attract investors. Because really, at the end of the day, the investors and the stakeholders want to know their ROU, their return on investment. So you really need to be able to articulate that and also identify the risks to the business and address them proactively. And that's what this day is all about. And in the afternoon, you'll be starting to shape that with your mentor. So building on day 1 and day 2, you're really starting to put meat on the bone of your venture. And the mentors will help you translate the financial projections into a compelling narrative for the investors, so thinking about that pitch. They'll also help you guide you in identifying any funding gaps, thinking about realistic valuation and key financial risks. So really, they're starting to help you prepare for questions from the investors. So questions like, how will you use my investment effectively? What assumptions drive your financial projections? How do your startup costs and funding source align? All these things, you've got somebody by your side helping you shape this throughout that week. Because these financial hurdles, you really need to understand them because they may impact your business success. If we go to the next slide, please. So by day 4, I find that the energy in the room is shifting. People are incredibly comfortable by then to be really open and honest and giving each other feedback within that group, because people have started to unpack all the information they have been receiving throughout the week. Because it's an incredibly supportive environment, people are able to challenge each other. So imagine that you are starting to now not just leverage on your mentor, but also on that support group that you've been building relationships with and learning together. So what I find is the dynamics change, and it's very much a very high buzz, high energy, intensive day where people are supporting each other. I've seen people pitch to each other, take time to support each other and understand their own challenges. So while the mentor is here as well on a one-to-one basis, I found that people also benefit from that cohort supporting them and challenging. So on day 4, what you'll learn in the morning is really about the building the team aspect of building your venture. What's your role as an entrepreneur, but also what's the key roles for your team members. because it's really important for you to understand the essential roles and responsibilities, understand how you're going to structure your teams, how to organize it, and also how you're going to grow the team long term. So obviously there's aspects with growing the team as in, finding the right people, but also the legal considerations and key legal aspects of hiring and expansion. And why it's important on that day 4 is really because you want to acquire the right skills at the right time in your venture. And thinking about that pitch, you want to demonstrate to investors that you've got a strong, scalable team. And how you'll apply this in the afternoon with the mentor is about working together to assess whether you have the right mix of skills. Are you able to demonstrate that you're ready to scale up your business with the right team? And also the mentors will be here to help you challenge how to think strategically about hiring, what might be equity distribution considerations you need to think about, and also possibly what's your leadership succession going to look like. I find that by the end of that day 4, people really need some more time to think about preparing for their pitches. And so we're incredibly flexible. We're very responsive to your needs. We're here to partner with you and to support you. So it's up to you to decide how you want to make the most of that afternoon and prepare for the next day. It can also include some time to polish that 30-second elevator pitch if you want to practice it as well. And if we can go to the next slide, please. So day 5, this is a really exciting day. People are really buzzing with excitement to be able to have an opportunity to actually see the fruit of their labours and the input that everyone's been giving them throughout the week to be working on presenting something and having a go. And that's really important. It's a safe space where you'll be able to practice that pitch. So in the morning, you have actually dedicated more time for one-to-one with your mentor. So I found that people find it really helpful to have one last go at practicing the pitch with me. But you also have time to prepare. You have time to also finalize some of the questions you may have throughout the week. And as I said, it's very much a journey that will continue after Ignite. But it is an opportunity for you to pack as much as you want and as you need in that morning to get some of those questions answered and leveraging on the experts that are around you. So in the pitch practice, pre-pitch practice, I should say, with your mentor, they can also give you that direct feedback on your pitch and help you refine for different stakeholders that you might be thinking of presenting to. And then in the afternoon, what happens is people feel really excited and have an opportunity to pitch to real world experts. But it is, as I said, a safe space for practicing, and the audience that you'll be presenting to are very aware of that. So they're incredibly supportive. They will be bringing some additional expertise and feedback to you. So it really is an opportunity for you to refine your message before facing the real investors. It is possible, if you want to have your mentor join the session with your audience, if you feel a little bit nervous and a little bit anxious, and that is absolutely fine. So really, at the end of that week, what you're aiming to do is have that first draft, that first real world experience of presenting to people who will be interested in your venture, have some really good questions and start challenging again some of your assumptions. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is understand how to capture your value proposition. How do you create it? How do you align with what your customers are looking for? How do you create that business model? And also, how do you communicate? So communication skills will be really tested throughout that week. Because at the end of the day, what you want is to be able to commercialize your idea. So the whole program is here to support you with your mentor in order to achieve that goal. So I know that I'm nearly running out of time, so I just want to wrap up that presentation and be able to answer any key questions that you may have. But hopefully this has given you clarity on how the mentoring process works and really the valuable role that these mentors will play in helping you refine your ideas, the structure of your team, and really preparing for your pitch. My experience has been that it creates an environment which is incredibly supportive, and you really get an absolute jam-packed week full of insights, the clues in the name, but really opportunities for real world expertise to be targeted to what you need most. So mentors aren't here to just give you advice. They're here to challenge your thinking, provide that direct feedback, and really help you gain confidence in making those key decisions as you start building your venture. So my personal advice is make the most of their time, their experience and their insights, because they really are dedicated to your success absolutely 100% throughout the week.
Thank you, Sarah. That was amazing. I think you summed up really well one of my key takeaways from Ignite, which is although it is an open program, it is able to combine sort of an open program element with almost a bespoke element for the ventures attending, because
Absolutely.
of the approach that we take to mentoring, that you very much have the opportunity to work on your idea with very tailored support, and to build what you need to build. And I think that's what I always take away from Ignite, is that sort of bespoke element that seems so strange, within a public program. But I think Ignite achieves that incredibly well, thanks to people like you. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions? Or has Sarah given you such a full, comprehensive overview, which was great? It was spot on. Thank you. Or you can post them in chat. I don't mind. What you see here actually on that picture is the lady there to my right, certainly on the screen, that is Kana. She is now based in Cambridge. She came via Tokyo. She's actually sitting in the Entrepreneurship Centre at the moment. She went on to our Accelerate programme, and is currently working on taking her idea forward and working towards some funding.
There's a question when it starts.
Right. Okay, yes. Maybe Zara, if we go to the next slide, I think it's got some details of Ignite on that. Okay, so it runs from the 6th to 11th of July at Cambridge Judge Business School. Basically, when it says here your idea will be assessed, the reason why we do the interviews to onboard, it's really an onboarding process by way of interviews, is to get as much detail as possible. One, because we can match you to the right mentors, and that is really important. The groups are put together really carefully. We work very closely to identify the right mentor for the kind of ideas that are in that particular group. And also, because we do the interviews, just to add to the programme, on the Friday morning, Ciara, who's the Ignite programme manager, she schedules a number of one-to-one clinics. And what these clinics are your opportunity to sign up, for example, an IP specialist in Cambridge, or a lawyer specialising in data rooms or data protection, or somebody specialising in marketing or branding, somebody possibly specialising in a particular area of regulation across life sciences or med tech, etc. So that's one of the reasons why we do the interviews, is one, to ensure we assign the right mentor, but also allow Ciara to think about who's she going to invite to these one-to-one clinics. And all ventures on Ignite have the opportunity to attend up to 3 one-to-one clinics on the Friday morning before they do their pitches on the Friday afternoon. So basically, we say yes, it is full time. I mean, obviously, we do allow people to disappear if they've got children to collect from school, or if there's something really urgent. We do have ventures sometimes having to go to meet a potential investor, but effectively, it is a full time program. We find that that's what generates the most benefit, because if you're not in group mentoring, or if you're not in some of the taught sessions, then it's the networking that goes on in between that is really, really important. A lot of ventures go on to form sort of alliances and collaborations with each other. It's a really powerful program. So yes, we've got a question from Melissa. We had around 45 So it's a sort of nice size of cohort. It's big enough to feel that you've got diversity and a range of ideas and a lot of people to network and build relationships with, but small enough that people can get the sort of bespoke attention that is required. So the mentor to student ratio, we tend to go between sort of 5 student
Six,
stroke
seven.
ventures. Yeah,
Six, seven.
Six, seven.
Ventures.
So I beg your pardon. But the way that works, and Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, what the mentors do is there's always this element of group mentoring, which is really powerful. Do not underestimate being able to have people like Sarah facilitate you bouncing ideas off the other people in your group. All NDAs are signed by everybody, and Sarah and other mentors take great care to make sure that nobody gives away anything that they should not be giving away in the form of intellectual property and other information. But what the mentors also do as part of that afternoon is carve out time to spend one-to-one quality time with the ventures in their group as well. Any more questions? It is a really good opportunity to engage with the Entrepreneurship Centre and really to start building those networks with the Cambridge ecosystem. We have another graduate from 2023 who is currently in the Entrepreneurship Centre at the moment, and she is just heading off to present to a large insurance company at the request of one of the Entrepreneurship Centre's fellows. And I think that's a really great example of being able to plug in to the Cambridge ecosystem. She's come back from France to do this presentation specifically along at King's. Yeah, and Sarah has just posted here, and I think that's an important point as well, is Sarah and the other mentors always have an MBA or an executive MBA facilitator to work alongside the groups. And they are very good at answering possibly some of the financial questions, some of the more sort of business orientated questions. That's not for one moment to suggest that the mentors don't, but they can help you with some of the more practical aspects of putting your business plan together, pricing, forecasting, etc. And the good thing about the MBAs, executive MBAs, is their diversity as well. A lot of MBAs, executive MBAs, come from life science companies, come from medtech companies, come from banking customers, etc. So again, they bring that sort of sector expertise to the table as well. Okay, just time for a couple more questions. Sarah, are there any additional points that you would like to add?
No, just to re-emphasize, I think your point that it really is an immersive experience. There are opportunities for you to network, not just with people on the same cohort as you, but the Judge Business School, in my experience, is buzzing with really great people to be around. So there's opportunities for you to actually immerse yourself in the Cambridge experience in a prestigious business school where you will no doubt be absorbing lots of other things other than just the time points in the lectures and in the mentoring. You will have opportunities in the evenings again to connect with people in the cohort. I remember last year some people organized social events in the evenings, like touring a college or just going out for a meal together and exchange what they've learned in the morning and in the afternoon. And I know that some people have forged some really great connections, some friendships, and extended their network vastly because they've really made the most of that opportunity to be fully into that space. So there's plenty of opportunities. If you want it, you can grab it with two hands and you will not be disappointed. Absolutely.
And I think the starting point is just get your application in. Sometimes we're conscious that people need to look for funding, but that sort of journey can't start until your application is in. So my suggestion is do get your applications in as quickly as possible. We can then start making that connection with you, and we can look at the ways that we can onboard you to the Ignite programme. So I'm going to stop there unless there's any further questions, but thank you so much for joining us. And if you're listening to this at a later time and date, I think, I'm just going to repeat, get your application in. That is the first step to onboarding you to the Ignite programme, and we can look at how we can make that happen. So thank you for either listening to this at the present time, or thank you if you're listening to it at a later date. And again, you'll see on that last slide there that there's an email there that you can use if you have any questions about what's been covered in this webinar, or any other questions regarding Ignite and the application process. So a huge thank you to Sarah, not just for doing this webinar, but also agreeing to come back again this year to be one of our much valued mentors. It's very much appreciated. We have an amazing mentor team, and we couldn't do Ignite without them. So thank you for joining us, and I'm going to end this webinar here. So thank you, and thank you to Sarah and to Zara Thompson and Claire Bannister, who are also in this call too. Zara Thompson is the Ignite Programme Manager. And again, you're welcome to reach out to her too with any questions that you might have. So thank you.